Hey everyone, in today's video it's going to be a recording of my visit to the Shed Aquarium where I was fortunate to catch a couple feedings and some other really cool stuff, and as well as an update on my fish. Right here we can see an Asian Arowana, the only one that they had at the Shed Aquarium, at least on display, and you can see he looks pretty beat up. He's missing a large section of his tail here, so that's unfortunate, but still very cool to see an Asian Arowana. This is a giant gourami that I tried to trigger. Maybe you've seen the meme before, but sometimes they can go a little crazy. But that guy was a little more relaxed. And here's a giant clown knife, clown loaches, datnoid, all kinds of cool stuff in this tank. The next thing that caught my eye was an axolotl that got stuck in a taffy mixer and stretched out. Unfortunate accident. No, I'm kidding. This is actually a siren. I'd never heard of them before, but very cool. I thought it was some kind of freak axolotl at first, so I wouldn't mind having one of those. This next exhibit was all about Australian fish, and you're going to see some giant lungfish. I've never seen them that big before. Maybe somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's what they are. They're in there with a bunch of Australian rainbows, and there's aquatic turtles. You can see one up there, and he's eating right now. They had thrown in a bunch of shrimp and silver sides, and there's another turtle that you'll see at the bottom of the frame, and he's going to tear into a shrimp in a second here. You can see that rainbow on the right there grabbing one. So the turtle right now is using his claws to try to tear up that chunk so he can swallow it. So it's a really cool fish. One of the few saltwater exhibits I took a recording of is these guys here. They really grab your attention. But everyone who knows me knows I'm more of a freshwater guy, and that's mainly what you're going to see here. So this exhibit is paddlefish, which are these big freshwater fish that feed on zooplankton, microscopic organisms. So they're very cool filter feeders. They swim around with their mouths agape like that. And people actually fish for them, and the method for fishing for them is to snag them. So they'll troll along in a boat with a treble hook and just try to snag these guys, which, it doesn't seem like very fun fishing to me, leave them be. Check out this alligator snapping turtle. What a beast.
Dr. Grant, my dear Dr. Sattler, welcome to Jurassic Park.
We were fortunate enough to walk up just when he decided to move and get some air. They spend long amounts of time with their mouths open. They have a tongue that looks like a little worm, and they'll wiggle around trying to get fish to attract them. And once they come close enough, they'll snap their jaws shut and eat the fish. So you can see he sits in the water so long that he gets algae growing on the back of his shell. So we were pretty fortunate to see him move and come up from air. You'll see him just poke his nostrils up to break the surface tension of the water, take a breath of air. The next exhibit had Arapaima, Freshwater Stingrays. There was true black pacus in there. There was red-tailed cats, ripsaw cats, all kinds of big stuff. Very cool fish. And I was fortunate enough to catch a video of the Arapaima feeding, which I'll be showing you in a minute here. But see right there, that turtle bites onto the neck of the other turtle. I don't know what was going on in there, but a little bit of aggression there. There's some of those big ripsaws I was talking about, and there's a big old red-tailed catfish. Monster head on him. So next is the feeding, and I'm going to leave the audio in for you.
Wow.
Very cool. The video doesn't do it justice how loud those snaps were. This porcupine puffer was another one of the few saltwater things that I had to take a video of because he was a massive unit. At least 2.5, 3 feet, I'd say. I had never seen a porcupine puffer that large before. That's some kind of grouper. Pretty cool, but saltwater doesn't do it for me, except for the puffers. I'll give you that. Up next, I have some footage of my fish room. Specifically, people were asking for the manna shrimp. They wanted to see more of him and feeding and whatnot. So I did get a couple of glamour shots of my manna shrimp when he does come out to explore. He usually does it in the mornings pretty early. But he'll swim up against the glass like that when he's hungry to tell me so. I keep my manna shrimp tank on my desk right next to me. He's actually poking out of underneath his rock right now, just like that shows in the video. I left the audio in here so you can hear him. He's beating up an empty shell. No meat inside of it. He just likes to punch things. You might notice the fiddler crab in the background. It didn't take him too long after a little encouragement to notice him. And 2 shots is all it took for this fiddler crab. He takes him back into his lair. This here is some baby piranha that I bought about 8 months ago now. These guys are just about 1 inch long, and right here I'm feeding them a ghost shrimp. I'm watching them hunt them. Right now my piranha are probably around 6-8 inches, I'd say. So in 8 months they've massively grown. They've exploded in size. It has to be one of the fastest growing fish that I've ever kept. So I went from feeding them ghost shrimp and pellets they would actually eat as well. Frozen bloodworms were their favorite. Now I'm feeding them whole frozen shrimp that I buy at Walmart. I've also been using frozen cod fillets and cutting those up and giving it to them. And I'll cut some smaller pieces for my bowfin and whatnot. So really crazy how much these guys explode and really fun to watch them hunt. I had those rosy reds in there as a dither because sometimes piranha can kill their own kind and eat them. So my idea was if I had something that was different in the tank, if they do get to the point where they're so hungry, maybe they'll take out that minnow instead of one of their brothers. And it worked at first, but they did end up eating one of their own as well. So tried my best, but you can't always predict it with piranhas. The next couple of scenes I have for you are about my axolotls. I came home one night and they had laid eggs everywhere to my surprise. So I did research on what I should do. I decided to use this breeder box to at least hatch them out of, which takes water in from the tank and filters it back out. So that with regular water changes, I still ended up losing quite a few of them. I think my main problems were I did not remove the sand, which I think some of them probably ended up eating some of the sand and killing them. And I didn't raise the water temperature. I kept them at 65, same as the adults. So I did warm up the temperature in the end to about 70 degrees, and I started seeing improvements. So we'll see what happens. Next up, I've got my green spotted puffers. I'm feeding them some snails because, as you may or may not know, all puffers have beaks inside, and you have to feed them a hard food. Snails, clams, anything that's got something that they have to chomp through. It'll help file down their beaks. Otherwise, if you just let them grow and feed them soft foods like peeled shrimp and whatnot, their beaks will grow to the point where they can no longer manipulate their mouth, and it'll be stuck in an open position. And you either have to trim them with nail clippers or they'll die. So, got to make sure you feed them stuff. These are some pest snails from my other tank. So, well, that's it for today. Thanks for watching, guys. Subscribe and comment below.
New worlds, to seek out new life, new civilizations, to boldly go where no one has gone before.